Right, time to jump into Aurora and Oscilio, right? Down the rabbit hole of Rosetta combo. Now, there is one crucial card missing from the combos we will show off today, right? It's not quite ready for Talishare, which is fine. It is an absolutely insane card, and it's in the rare slot, right? See if you can figure it out. We'll go over why it's really insane at the end of this, but nonetheless, we'll show off what we can do currently with Aurora and Oscilio. And I gotta say, it feels like getting mixed signals from LSS, right? They have reined in draw, card advantage, combo, and, explosive turns. Yet, at the same time, the lightning package that they've printed, right? The heroes aren't that insane. The abilities are good. They're not, great. They're not broken. Veridance and Florian, their combos are also well thought out, right? They're that meaningful quest that LSS wants you to go on. But then we have the lightning package of cards, and yeah, it's just utter insanity, right? It's Zen vibes, so I really hope that they've done proper testing, especially on Aurora. It seems like her aggressiveness is kind of going to go unchecked, but we'll see. But anyway, let's jump into it, right? So we're going to go to the extreme. So we have more setup, but we also have ways to still gain card advantage. So for instance, we have Sigils. Arknight has the constraint of requiring the top card of your deck to be an attack action, so that makes it less consistent. But Oscilio's is fantastic. Oscilio's is just draw a card, so you can definitely use it preemptively to have a big hand to then go into a very, very explosive turn, as we will find out. But nonetheless, right, to start off, we will continue setting up. So Sigil, and then we'll do another Sigil, and then we can do Channel Lightning Valley. And now we need lightning cards in our pitch, right? So that's why we have the Annals. Gauntlet and Flash is another utterly insane card, right? There's a trifecta, Blast to the Oblivion, Gauntlet and Flash, and one other rare that just in conjunction with one another definitely go crazy. We'll use the Annals to pitch our two lightning cards, and then this will draw us another Channel Lightning Valley, which of course we can play because it's instant, so that's perfect. And then from there we have our two lightning cards. So we can send them to the bottom and maintain our Channel Lightning Valleys. Right, so we're going into this turn. No Arsenal card, does not matter, right? I'd rather have this set up. So our two Sigils of the Arknight will proc, and we will get our two extra cards, which will be Double Snatch. And from there, we can throw out another Sigil. We can also throw out Channel Lightning Valley. But more importantly, we're going to use Lightning Greaves. And Lightning Greaves, right? Do I really have to explain how absurd this card is? For one, it's Battle Worn, it's Arcane Barrier. But then compare it to other really good footwear or comparable footwear. Time skippers. Pay 3 for 1 action point. Spellbound Creepers. 1 turn use and will degrade, generally over 3 to 4 turns. And then there's just this, which is just such an enabler for explosive shenanigans. More so, to me, in all honesty, than 12 Petals. But we can Blossom of Spring, right? Because, look, it costs 1. It should not cost 1. It should require a blue card or, 4, maybe. Nonetheless, right, Lightning Greaves are active, so when we play a instant card, we will now generate an action point. So that's insane. We have 3 Channel Lightnings, and then we have Aurora's specialty, which is Arc Lightning, right? Whenever you go again this turn, deal 1 arcane damage to any target. So basically, your big, long string of attacks, all gonna ping. And then, of course, it has next action card you play this turn also gets go again, right? So you can use it in conjunction with Snatch. We can use each of these in conjunction with Snatch, and that, again, to me, is just mind-boggling, right? How all this is acceptable with their new design philosophy and principles. Nonetheless, right, we will have 1 active, because this will deal damage. It will also ping our Channel Lightning Valleys, so we'll get 3 more cards, which is a Snatch, and an Arc Lightning. Okay, so this is my 3rd time recording this, right? Apparently, Channel Lightning will duplicate cards, because, yeah, that's wrong. We'll draw 2 more cards, so it should have drawn those 3, right? For one, this is an illegal deck, so it shouldn't have 4 snatches. So, yeah, I guess disregard 2 of them, but we'll go from there. So weird. I can't even pitch them away. I can't even delete them from hand. Anyway, just forget 2 are there, right? Try to. So we can do Snatch. It will proc the Rune Chant, which is fine. It has go again because of the Arc Lightning. And then from here, even without the 2 cards, right, we'd have 4 in hand, which means we can pop the Amulets of Assertiveness, all 3 in fact. That's not what I meant to click. I meant to just click on it. And from there, of course, this is going to hit 3 more attacks. Snatch, Snatch, and a Blast to Oblivion. So, Snatch will hit, it will draw another Memorial Ground, and this is basically how we're going to loop Blast to Oblivion, right? Memorial Ground along with the Sigil. So that way we guarantee that there's an attack on top of the deck when this leaves. So from there, we can pass, and we can just go through the other snatches that we do have. So Arc Lightning will trigger. We can then play Arc Lightning again. Pass. It'll do its ping. We'll get the go again effect, which means we can play one of the other snatches. Let it hit. Of course, draw another Memorial Ground. And then again, ping, ping. Do it one more time. Arc Lightning. So now every time we go again, we're dealing 3 extra damage, and we've already dealt almost 20, right? So one more snatch. Let it do its thing. 3 pings. We should easily be able to OTK with this, right? So now, again, we should only have 1 extra snatch in our hand, which we can still play because we have the correct action points. So snatch. Hits. 1 more Memorial Ground, and then we're right to combo. So, yeah. But from here, this is where we can start to loop. So the last card on top of our deck is another Blast to Oblivion, right? So by constantly rotating the Sigil and playing Memorial Ground, we maintain a Sigil on board to create draw, and then we also have Blast to Oblivion going back to the top of the deck, right? So that's why we set up initially with 1 in the graveyard. So from here, what we can do nice and simply is go Blast to Oblivion. When it's on the chain, we can then use a Memorial Ground, right, which will also generate an action point. So Blast to Oblivion, and then we return the Sigil of the Arknight. That'll draw another blast, and then Memorial Ground will resolve. It'll do its ping because it's an instant, and then from there we let Blast to Oblivion hit, of course, and we have to break the chain. Doesn't matter, we want 1 to go back to graveyard, so again, we can Memorial Ground it. So we Sigil, goes back onto the board. Again, it does its 3 pings because of Arc Lightning. And then we just continue playing, right? Blast to Oblivion. Deals 4. We Memorial Ground. We pick Blast to Oblivion once again. Pick the Sigil. And you cannot, also, worth mentioning, you cannot loop Channel Lightning Valley, right? So this has a timing clause on it. The first time you deal damage, so if you were to return it to hand and then play it again, doesn't matter. You've already dealt damage to the opposing hero, so it won't re-trigger and it won't, infinitely loop withdraw. Otherwise, that would be really good. But Memorial Ground, again, let it ping. And yeah, so we can do this a couple more times, which we'll speed through quickly, because you get the gist, right? Again, Sigil, put into play, ping, and then Blast to Oblivion. There we go, this will be the last time that we can play, right? Because we don't have another instant to actually pop the Sigil. We can still put it into play. Still do the extra arcane damage because of Arc Lightning, and then just play the last blast anyway. There we go. Almost 100 damage, right? Again, fairly decent. Again, it can be a lot more exponential once we get usage of the remaining rare, right? But let's hop over to Oscilio, because, yeah, his is even more crazy, right? Let's concede, though. So what do we end up doing, right? 92 damage. Average card was 11.5. I wonder if that breaks, LSS's new no explosive damage turn. And now we have Oscilio's, which is just insanely more straightforward, right? Because Sigil of Brilliance is also the instant that you can use to trigger Blast to Oblivion. Plus, then you have all your other fancy gear, right? So nice and simple. All we need to do to start off is pop everything, right? So we'll pop the Aether Bindings, get that effect going. We can pop Lightning Greaves by popping Robe of Rapture, right? Again, the fact that, no action points, doesn't matter. We're wizards, right? So Lightning Greaves off of the resources we generated, and then from there we can throw a Sigil of Brilliance into play, which of course will generate our action point, so we can play Blast to Oblivion, right? So now we just cycle back and forth. So we do Blast, let go to the chain, and then we can put the other Sigil into play, of course cycling back the other Sigil, drawing a card, doing some damage, and stacking up a ton of effects, right? So we have Volzar, which is Amp X, the number of lightning cards you played this turn, right? Blast to Oblivion, lightning, Sigil of Brilliance, lightning, and then we also have the Aether Bindings, which is Amp 1 whenever a Sigil leaves the arena, right? So, yeah, fairly straightforward this one, right? Again, we're just spamming Blast to Oblivion. Play it, Sigil, generate the action point, return 1, and keep going. So let me just run through the 9 blasts, right, as we build up our damage. Right, so there we go. All the Blast to Oblivions. Now, something very, very worth noting is all of that is uncontested effects, right? So Sigil of Brilliance is whenever it leaves, draw a card, and the Blast to Oblivion is whenever you play an instance, right? So that also doesn't have any opponent interaction. So the big no explosive damage has gone from ninjas to wizards, Runeblade, 50-50, but yeah, Oscilio just having a burst turn for 27 damage. Don't know how reasonable that is, but regardless, right, we have all the amp effects. We still have the Lightning Rod to play, and as you can see, we have Aether Flares. Now, because we have the Lightning Greaves, right, we can generate that extra action point simply by playing the other Sigil of Brilliance. Even though we're not popping them, we have 2 action points now, and then we can also generate an extra resource so that we can play Volzar by spending our gold, right? So we'll pop Volzar first since we played all our lightning cards, and does it say how much? Yeah, there we go. We amped for 20 damage, right? So then we can pop the gold, which will draw another card, that's fine, and then we can go Aether Flare, which does 32, and then the second one does 35. So although it's not as, exponential as Kano, we still did a good 94 damage, right? Minimal setup. Yes, the cards have to align, but again, the Wizard's whole thing is cycling your deck so you can stack it effectively. So, yeah. Lightning. It's going to be interesting with how the meta falls, because, again, we did a whole bunch of physical damage, which would probably wear out your opponent's hand regardless, into way, way too much arcane damage, right? And if we could loop the other Aether Flare into it, through one other action point, which we could probably do without the Ropes of Rapture, right? There'd be some way to generate enough resources. But yeah, still, both 2 high damage combos, and again, they do not feature the really, really crucial card, right? So why don't we take a look at some deck lists? Right, did you guess it? Did you figure out the card I've been alluding to? Yeah. Electromagnetic Somersaults. Choose up to 2 attack action cards with cost 1 or more on the active chain link and return them to their owner's hand. So the red is 0 or more, yellow 1 or more, and blue is 2 or more. Now, this is a disgusting card, right? So this is an instant, so this will also proc Blast to Oblivion's effect to recycle a Sigil, meaning that you can chain them all together, and you can throw in Gorn in a Flash for free, right? Because it's just the next time you play an instant card, so you can cycle 3 cards back and a Sigil. So yeah, the insane amount of looping you can do, right? And 0 cost, 0 cost, 0 cost. So then it's just about the action point generation, which if you have a instant Sigil that you gain back with Blast to Oblivion, that's covered. If you have the Lightning Greaves activated, right? So that covers the Sigil, and then also Somersault. So you can literally take a aggro setup in Oscilio, right? Which I think is better because, again, he has the better Sigil to then just string these cards together, right? Then you have cards like Fulminate still, which give all attack actions go again. You have Flicker Wisp, which works with Arc Lightning. You have Sting of Sorcery. You have all these different ways to just do exponential amounts of damage, in all honesty. And again, going back to the draw that they cut from everyone, the draw that they left is all favored for aggro decks, right? Ones that can get damage across. So to me, Lightning does feel like it's heading towards Zen territory, and it will be very interesting to see how the meta unfolds, because one way or the other, even if it's not combo, you just have absolutely insane aggro potential, right? And again, in Oslo, right, you've got, instead of Arc Lightning, you've got Brainstorm for the amount of draw, you have other ways to amp, you have that ridiculous spell that allows you to draw as well. What is it? It is Open the Floodgate, right? Which is a common card. Yes, it costs 2, but if it does enough damage, it's draw 2 cards. So, best case scenario is literally float 1 resource, cycle 2, and do damage, right? And again, you just have a huge amount of burst. Thanks to Blast of the Oblivion, which is a rare, you'll have added burst with the Electromagnetic Somersault, also a rare. And yeah, to me, that is just kind of insane, even without the, troublesome Aether cards that Wizard has, right? I mean, not an instance, but I'm sure there's some way to go crazy on your opponent's turn as well, still with Wildfire. But Flare will do enough damage. You will still be able to do more than enough damage to OTK your opponent, and it does not seem that hard, in all honesty. There's my little spiel. Again, as the cards become more available on Teleshare, we'll dive into them a little bit better. But yeah, there you go. Oscilio and Aurora to start. Let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.